as always, I want to give y'all a little bit of background about what happened, the sad story of Miss Harris, and why this man is in prison in the first place. Here we go.
It's been nearly a year since the disappearance of 13-year-old Naziah Harris. Her body has never been found, but 42-year-old Jarvis Butts is accused of sexually assaulting her and killing her.
I saw Naziah the day she went missing.
Tijuana Butts is the defendant's sister.
I kept seeing a little girl get in and out of his truck, going to the gas station and going back to his car.
Butts testifying she had stopped by her brother's auto shop on the east side for him to look at her car when she spotted a girl she didn't recognize. Jarvis told her it was his business partner's niece.
I just remember her having on a colorful jacket.
Butts says she didn't think much of it until later. This is a photo of Harris on her bus the day she disappeared in that
13.
jacket. Butts getting emotional as she testified about suspecting her brother. Jarvis Butts was already a convicted sex offender. Records show he had spent nearly 10 years in prison for sexually assaulting a teenager. In this case, prosecutors say Jarvis Butts has several children with Naziah's aunt and was
So this man, or this guy, is connected to her aunt, and he's had children with her aunt. They clearly had a relationship. She was helping him or working with him at the shop. We're going to get into more of the details, not too many of the details, especially when it comes to the text messages. If y'all want to see and hear the text messages, you can go find those on your own. I unfortunately listened to some of the trial and heard what was going on in those text messages, and I will say it's hard to listen to. But anyway, he had a relationship with her aunt. He was obviously around her and a lot of other people who were close to her. As you heard from her sister, she even saw that they were maybe more involved and closer than other people may have thought. And this isn't the first time he's done something like this. He spent 10 years in prison. For what I understand, his history was well known, and they still chose to have this person around their children. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, we are not going to get into the text messages.
Secretly preying on Naziah, grooming her, even getting her pregnant, and then killing her.
Was he a secretive person to you?
Yes, he's very secretive.
Latricia Johnson has one child with Jarvis Butts. She testified Butts borrowed her car on January 9th of 2024, the day Naziah Harris disappeared.
He called and asked if he can use my car to do something with his son.
Was this normal, abnormal?
No, not normal.
Johnson testifying when he brought her car back the next day, Jarvis Butts had left something in the back seat, something believed to belong to Naziah Harris.
There was a pair of glasses that was left that my son was playing with. They were right there, and they were on my son's face. So I told him to take them off. When he take them off, he handed to me. Oh, Jarvis said, "Oh, those are my sunglasses," and he snatches it from my hand.
Other evidence on this day, clothing discovered in a search near the Rouge River believed to have been dumped by Jarvis Butts.
We collected a pink jumpsuit, bodysuit style, and then a black hoodie that had a pair of white headphones in one of the pockets, some gloves, a towel, and a pair of red, black, and white gym shoes.
Testimony in this preliminary exam resumes Tuesday morning. Amy Lang, Fox 2 News.
All right, and they had, it's going to continue. It's going to continue soon. Either way, we're going to get into some of the testimony from some of the investigators. We're going to hear the testimony from his sister later on. The first one I want to get into is a testimony from one of the investigators on the case.
39 years.
Before DPS, who did you work for?
I retired from Detroit Police Department.
And what were some of your common roles and responsibilities at the Detroit Public Schools Police Department?
We go to the school. Sometimes we talk to the kids. We take care of the buildings, take care of the principals, we take care of the family, and make sure everybody's abiding by the law.
Oh. And in January of 2024, what was your assignment at the DPS Police Department?
I was assigned to investigations.
And as part of that assignment, does that include going out and taking reports from people who are making police reports to the school police department?
Yeah, this is sad.
Yes.
Okay. I want to direct your attention to January 10th, 2024. Did you go to J.E. Clark School in Detroit?
Yes.
And what was the reason you went there, sir?
I got sent there by my lieutenant about a missing 13-year-old young lady from the school.
So sad.
And when you went there, did you speak with someone who was making that report?
Yes.
Who was that person?
I talked to her guardian, her grandmother, which is her guardian.
And is that Annette Harris?
Yes.
And in terms of taking that report, what's that process like? I don't want to go into what anybody said to you, but what information are you looking for to gather to put into your report?
Okay, I'm making a missing report. So I asked Ms. Harris, when's the last time seen our daughter? Her granddaughter. Description of what she have on. Has she ever been missing before? Does she have a boyfriend? Or she have friends she might go by the house and stay? Things of that sort.
And did you ask Ms. Harris all those
41-year-old
questions and get her
boyfriend.
answers?
Yes.
And then did you write an actual report?
Yes.
After you write that report, do you have any role in actually investigating to attempting to locate the missing person?
Yes.
Okay, what did you do after writing the report?
After I did the report, I canvassed the area looking for this young lady, although she was gone for at least 24 hours because she was missing the day before. Then from that point, we didn't find anything, so I found out the bus number that she was on. I got the video, and it shows where she got off the bus at Cornwell and 3 Mile.
You said Cornwell and 3 Mile?
Cornwell and 3 Mile.
Okay.
And from that point, like I said, we went to the house, talked to the guardian again, talked to some of the people in the house, and then we went on in and let it go from there.
And let's be real. This happens all the time. Y'all, I know from personal experience, someone very close to me growing up, this happens all the time. I'm sure y'all have stories that you could tell, or maybe you wouldn't want to tell. I'm not telling any stories today. What usually doesn't happen is someone ends up missing or dead in these cases, but people, they put their children in these type of situations. Kids are saying they're somewhere else and they're not somewhere else. The parents aren't checking in. The parents aren't able to check in. And they're leaving the care of their children to someone else or something else, a tablet, a TV, a grandma, an uncle. And it's just a true lack of care. And honestly, I know we're still getting early on to reviewing it here on this channel, but I think the parents in situations like this should be held accountable just as much as the person who did it. Because this child did not have to go through all of this. Should have never happened.
Sorry, just to be clear, you keep on saying we. Are you doing these things with a partner?
Yes.
And who is that partner?
Dale Gardner.
Okay. Judge, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as People's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes.
And what is that is contained in Exhibit 2?
School bus.
And is that a still shot from the video that you pulled or that you received?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the bus that you identified that Neziah Harris was on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
May I have one moment, Judge?
Yes.
That's Judge Aaliyah Sabri, I believe.
I have none, Judge.
Okay, cross.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Mr. Wolf, you were dispatched to the J. Clark School because you're an investigator for DPS.
I was not dispatched. The lieutenant came to the office and told us to go by the school for the missing.
Okay, so you were requested, your presence was requested at the school?
Yeah, from my lieutenant.
You don't have an office within the school?
No.
So you're not like the school resource officer, per se?
No.
Okay. And you said you met with Ms. Annette Harris on the 10th,
Yes,
and that's of January of 2022.
January, yes.
But that was early in the morning,
Around between 11 and 12,
so school was in session at that time.
yes.
And someone asked a great question in the chat. No, they have not found her yet. They found some of her clothing, which we'll get into shortly, but they have not found her yet. They don't know where she is. They found some of her items in the woods and washed downstream.
Did you speak with the teacher who was in Nazia's classroom on the 9th of January?
No,
Did you speak with any of Nazia's known friends?
in the investigation, yes.
You did. Who did you speak to?
I can't recall that.
Did you write them in a report?
No, not a missing report.
Okay, so you spoke with folks, but you didn't record their names?
I recorded it probably on my run sheet, but not inside the missing report.
And you didn't take statements from anybody?
No, not at the time.
Ever?
No.
Okay. Did you speak with anybody else at the school about Nazia, either on the 10th or any time after that?
Only other chance I talked to the guardian, which is the grandmother, and a couple of students.
A couple?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many?
A couple, too.
2. Okay. Just want to make sure we have the same definition of a couple.
Yeah.
And you said you canvassed the area?
Yes.
What area did you canvass?
The 3 mile area, we were all around there, checking the alleys, knocking on doors, seeing if we can get some video, doorbell, camera footage, things like that.
3 Mile, is that 3 Mile Drive?
3 miles in Cornwall, that area.
Okay, and that's where the bus stop was?
Yes.
Where Nazia would have gotten off the bus?
Yes.
Anywhere else around the school?
We checked around the schools. We checked on, matter of
I'm
fact,
sure
on
kids
her
go missing all the
street as
time.
well. We didn't find anything.
In her classroom, does she have a locker or a cubby or anything where she stores items?
I can answer that question.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Fair to say then that you didn't check?
I may have, but I can't recall right now.
And this is the defense right now.
Is there a report that documents whether you did or not?
No.
Okay. And after you did the canvass of the area of 3 Mile Drive in Cornwall, what else did you do?
I went back to the station, advised the lieutenant of what we came up with,
Which was what?
which was I talked to the parent, the grandparent, talked to a couple of students. We didn't find anything from doing our search of the area.
So did you do anything else in regards to investigating?
No, I did not, because I was getting ready to retire, so I was done.
Okay. I don't have anything further.
Yeah. What else do you need to ask?
Very briefly, Judge.
I'm going to try and not be biased in this one, y'all. It's going to be tough,
How
though.
long, you were first notified about this on the 10th, correct?
Yes.
And how long did you stay involved in the investigation?
That day.
Okay, so your activities that Ms. Quick asked you about contained, all happened on the 10th of January?
Yes.
What happened to the investigation after the 10th?
If someone else's investigation would have took over, besides me, because once again I was leaving, but I gave all the information that I had along with my run sheet as well. So
It was
from
passed
that
off
point,
to another investigator?
yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Okay, and then are you aware of what happened after?
Yeah, he said he was about to
No.
retire.
And you said that on the 10th, your lieutenant came in and asked you to go to J.E. Clark?
Yes.
And who is your lieutenant?
At the time, it was George Harris.
Okay. I know you're pretty good.
I just clarification. You said you were leaving. Are you mean leaving DPS or leaving
Yeah,
for the day?
retiring.
Okay.
So he was about to retire. He said, "Yeah, I took the report. I asked the kids, a couple of kids at the school, did y'all see her? Do you know what happened to her?" And they're like, no, we're good." So got moved on to somebody else. And again, y'all, they still don't know where she is, or I don't want to say where her body is, but they don't know what happened after she disappeared. So let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. This case is going to be an interesting trial, to say the least, because they don't have the body, but a lot of the evidence surrounding it, the circumstantial evidence, seems pretty damning.